Hey, everybody.
We're live, yes?
We're live.
It's good. Hello, everyone.
It's good.
This is High Shelf Gaming. We're going to be doing some actual plays. We have been, going through some stuff in the last couple of weeks, but it's all good. We're going to be live tonight playing some AGON by Sean Nittner and John Harper. Ethan is our Strife player. Thank you so much, Ethan, for putting all this together.
Bring
This is
trouble
like
to your
episode.
lives.
This, this is episode 10. Our glorious heroes have been away on this voyage for quite some time. And that's exciting. I really like this. This system has really been fun to explore so far. And I know that like around now, the voyages tend to start to wrap up, right? So there's a little bit of sense of impending loss here for me, but I'm excited. So
It'll be a minute, but
yeah. So other things going on. Let's see here. This coming Wednesday is our next game? Question mark to the crew. I'm seeing some nods. Yes. Okay. So Wednesday is our next game, which is going to be Red Markets, which is an economic horror game with not vampires. My God, zombies.
We should not add vampires on top of that.
Yeah,
vampires is a problem.
Yeah, no, zombies.
Additional problem.
Zombies. It's good though. It's been fun so far. We've had a couple of scenarios thrown at us, and that is going to be a good one because we're at a school on Wednesday to loot some old vending machines. What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong in an abandoned school, elementary school? Yeah.
Yeah, vending machines. They're notoriously quiet when you mess with them. And the zombies.
There's so much. Look, we just crashed a helicopter.
It's true.
I think the noise from a vending machine is minimal.
True. Yeah. So we got that to look forward to on Wednesdays. And
we're all hung up on the helicopter. That water park means that like most of that part of the town is like terrifying to be around right now.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Right? We witnessed some dark shit go down
in our first time out of that game.
Yeah. And then like some of us
elementary school. I just know now that I'm going to be up late Wednesday.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the warning. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Go ahead and get your sleep schedule sorted so that you got some sleep debt banked for Wednesday. Oh my gosh. So yeah. And then talking about further out there stuff. This year, Gen Con is happening in September. We are going to be there for Gen Con. I'll be running a big game for a gaming company. I don't know if we're clear to talk about it yet, but it has been submitted. Gen Con, I don't know if they've approved it yet or not. So that's, I think, what we're waiting on is for the approvals to come in and all of that good stuff. But the Con Save and HSG, we're gonna help each other out. We're gonna run this cool big game together at Gen Con, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're really excited for September. And we're going to keep talking about it kind of as we get a little bit closer. I start sprinkling in some details whenever we get there. I think
they are doing Gen Con online stuff again too, aren't they?
So yeah, Gen Con is now like 3 styles of convention. There's the in-person one, which is going to have half attendance this year. So they can do more social distancing, and they lost the football stadium because like it's in the middle of football season and there's going to be a game going on. So one of those days, the convention center is going to be full of nerds, and right next door, the stadium is going to be full of football players and fans of football players. So that's going to be cool.
Nerd's nightmare.
I mean, like nerds of the 80s and 90s, we hated that shit, right? Because that was bad news bears. But like nowadays, like it's all cool in the gang. Like half those fans are probably nerds themselves.
There's going to be a lot of fantasy football talk is what it's going to break down into.
Yeah.
The problem is going to rise when all of us people are drunk at the same time.
True. Yeah, downtown Indy on that night is going to be wild.
What's the day of Gen Con?
The 16th, the weekend of the 16th in September.
Oh, well, I mean, the fans, it's going to be the Rams against the Colts. So, some Rams fans just there.
It's not anything crazy. Like, it's not like the Eagles or something where you've got Philly fans that might come by. You're relatively safe there. You don't want something crazy like that.
As a person who currently lives in and around the Philly area, I'm going to say let's not talk anymore
let's
stuff
play this
about
game.
them. I
So
really
AGON.
don't want them to have opinions about us.
They're gonna find David.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
They'll know.
Eagles for life. I don't. It's great. I don't. whatever it takes. I just don't want any trouble from my neighbors. So yeah. So that is coming in September. It'll be a lot of fun. I think the other thing around Gen Con. Oh, so the other two styles, they're going to do Gen Con online. So they're going to have a bunch of online events and games and all that kind of stuff. And if we wanted to run some online games, I think we can do that. And then they also do the Gen Con pop-up thing, which is like various game stores around the country can be a part of the pop-up con experience where Gen Con sends them like a care package and they get to do some con-like activities in the game store. And I've never been to a pop-up Gen Con. I almost have. That's like the darkest area for me. I have no idea what that is actually like, but I know that it happens.
Well, they do it at the same time as Gen Con, don't they? We're like,
right. So there's no way for me to go because
we're not there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this year, since a lot of us are not able to go, maybe one or two of us go to some pop just to see like what is the thing? Is it even like mentioned? Or did the game store just like check a box so they get the care package? Like what is the vibe?
Sounds like
free stuff is free stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do it. Yeah,
we are live streaming. We are going inside the Gen Con pop up
to uncover this mystery.
Yes,
it's like to just do like Ghost Adventures. Just
dude,
they've got a dealer's hall
right here. Fuck, man.
You're going into the pop-up live games by yourself, dude. We're locking you in.
We're locking you in, Aaron. Aaron, you're going in.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to do that. Just cosplay the whole thing as
I'm gonna put the Ghost Adventures crew is now in horrific spooky gaming, and awful things are going to happen to them.
And my character is a big old fan.
Oh sure. Just like, it can be like watching your heroes getting eaten alive by the Great Maw, and it's like, okay, I guess I need new heroes that aren't quite so dumb.
Wouldn't say heroes.
Well, Zach is not just haunted by the dead; he's also haunted by the living.
Yeah.
I think
it says so in his biography.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. It's a memoir. I don't know.
So we have some horrific spooky gaming siege percolating.
Horizon.
It sounds like.
Yeah, on the horizon. Once we're done with this, I'll probably run the next mystery.
That's fun. All right. So I think those are all of the announcements and talking points I can think of before we get into our wayward voyage, our own private odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
In the world
it's
of
not very
AGON.
private. We're putting it on the internet, but.
Touche.
And then he just says it with a straight face. He doesn't even giggle.
Touche.
All
right, Strife player.
All right, so it's last time we were on an island where fate was getting real weird. They stopped cutting the strands because somebody stole their dang old shears and just tossed them in a gorge somewhere, which is not very nice. It's not a very nice thing to do, but he did it for a good reason. Ultimately for nothing. Poor Spyridon, he's gone. Poor guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys then went into the gorge, into the Forgotten Gorge to find the Shears of Atropos, one of the Fates. You met the Fates. They seemed a bit distracted, but are taking a break in the first time since ever, I think. Which is a little strange, but they're doing it. They're taking a break. But you guys have, after avoiding some pretty nasty fates, like being forced to wander for all time in order to prevent ruin from coming to your homeland, or, having one of your previous decisions reversed and having Prometheus escape and also the gates of Tartarus be shattered and all of the gods of Olympus be killed. Instead of those things happening, it's all fine, and you found the Shears. And now Xenon, who actually found the Shears, gets to share with us what our finale contest is going to be. So what is the plan here? how are we going to finish up this island? And then after that, we're going to have a nice little voyage phase. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I think what we're going to be playing for, because the shears are broken, and they need to be, if they're going to be used, they need to be.
Would you like a reminder of the signs of the gods?
Yes, I would love a reminder of the signs of the gods. And who's in charge of this one? This was a Hilarion.
This was a Hilarion, yes. And that's why Hilarion got the whole, got some trouble coming his way, just from being the
my
leader.
own thing to deal with, yeah.
Yeah, Hilarion had his own personal threat that was like, hey, if you don't do well, you don't get to go home ever. Thanks. See ya. Yeah, so you had 2 signs from the gods. You had one from Ares, Lord of War. His sign is the splintered shield. What is broken should be discarded and forgotten. And you also had a sign from Hephaestus, the crafter of the gods. His sign is the empty forge. Without bellows, the coals of his furnace cool. That is probably the least helpful sign from the gods I've seen in this game.
So can we?
I don't even know what I think that means.
Right.
And I have to know that in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, when that matters, when it comes up.
No, it'd be like in an hour or 2.
Oh, so I imagine that when our characters split to go and address all of the calamities and things, there was probably a brief moment where Xenon was like, pulling up his cowl and getting ready to go down into the gorge, and there was probably a bit of guidance given if he were to be successful in his efforts. What sort of guidance would you all have given him before you saw him, maybe for the last time, as he goes into the gorge alone?
Or you guys at least split up in the gorge.
Sure.
Everybody's going through it, but Xenon.
That's true. That's true.
I gotta go find the shears. You guys who deal with all this bad stuff, I'm out.
Right. Yeah. So there was probably this moment where we departed, and somebody maybe had some thoughts of, when you find them, do this. And if no one had thoughts, that's great. But if they
maybe
did,
Hilarion should give these thoughts.
Hilarion's the leader.
So what are our options, I guess?
Arts and oration, craft and reason, resolve and spirit, blood and valor.
Well, no, it's more along the lines of like, you found the shears.
Right.
So what are we going? So the question is, what do we do now? They're broken. I mean, we didn't know they were going to be broken.
Yep.
So that kind of throws that haul off on something else. So I mean, the direction that Hilarion would have been like, I got to deal with this thing. Go get the shears.
Bring them back, kind of thing.
Just go get the shears. Like,
yeah.
All you had to do was go get the scissors, and you broke them. Why did you break them?
I didn't break them. They were broken when I got them.
I think maybe at this point we are outside the gorge again, because all the threats have been handled and we have the shears.
Okay.
So now is the time where everybody's together. And it's like, what do we do?
Yeah.
You have the shears and they're broken. So
yeah.
Something has to be done about it.
Xenon produces them. He unwraps them from like a leather wrap kind of thing, and they lay broken. And there's probably whatever used to bind the shears together. There's probably like a couple of parts or something like that Xenon also found and kind of put them together, but it's clearly not enough to reset the pins and get the action working again. Xenon is looking at this and says, I found them in this condition. There's clearly some missing pieces. I don't know if they can be mended, but perhaps they still work as a single bladed item. I don't know.
Could we call upon Hephaestus to work on them? Or could the person that caused all this put them back together? He has a bladesmith of some sort, right?
He's the sharpener of the shears. I don't know if he can mend these. I think that would fall to us. But if I go about the effort of mending them, it will be done but imperfect.
Well, can we find out if they have maybe they have a very talented smith on the island. Is this the first time they've been broken? Maybe they get broken all the time.
Yeah. I wonder if returning them in their current condition would still allow them to do the work of the fates, or if they must be remended.
Do we have the abilities amongst us to mend them ourselves? Let's look at all the parts.
Sure. Yeah, so he has them laid out, and you can see like how it should work together, right? But there's clearly just not quite enough. Because I imagine that like when it came down, it probably shattered and pieces went everywhere, and Xenon gathered what he could see, but you know.
I think we could, if everyone took a part, like we made sure that Hilarion held them together, and Mike, I just blanked on your character's name. Phaedros. Held the pin. You could, and then Xenon, you could set it, and then I could potentially cast a spell to bring it all together. So if we all use our abilities together, we can craft this thing back together.
Okay. All right, then I think that our path forward is well defined. We wish to mend these, bring them back to their former glory, with maybe a bit of ourselves staying behind to make this happen. And
I think it's what we must do.
Cool. All right.
All right.
So you all are able to find a forge. The forge belongs to the farrier, who handles like horseshoes, like sheep stuff. Like, he's not like, his whole thing is wool and helping people make wool. That's what they do here. It's just the way it is. Yep. But it's a forge like any other, and so it'll work. And Xenon, you having watched Hephaestus work, you have ideas. You immediately have ideas about how to make this happen.
Yeah, because witnessing that like broke part of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there is some thread of genius that I have witnessed and could ape here.
Yeah.
And will happily do so.
So it sounds to me like this is going to be a contest of craft and reason.
Yeah, I think that's fair, because we're going to try.
Craft and reason is the main thing for like the plans and putting it together. But other domains are certainly applicable, like blood and valor, to hold them together, and resolve and spirit and all of these things. Right, you can be brought in as second aspects, but I definitely think craft and reason is the main one here.
Okay.
Yep, we're gonna get crafty.
Gonna get crafty.
I love it.
So let's see. What are you actually?
I'm gonna move my little token here to the finale.
Oh yeah,
that feels
move
good.
Your token to the finale. Gotta do it.
It just feels good.
Yeah. So let's see. What is the thing you are against here? So I don't know. I think I'm just going to have to make some stuff up for this, because it's not really the gorge that you're against anymore. I think it's like the shears themselves that is like setting the difficulty here, and like their like brokenness, basically. Okay. So we're going to say shears of Atropos.
Sweet.
I'm going to give the shears of Atropos the mythic and sacred tags, or the mythic tag just for the name. And we'll make that a D8. We'll say, so we'll say fate cutting is an aspect. Because working with these is dangerous. They're still sharp.
Yep.
And it won't just cut you, it'll cut your fate.
And because this is already mythic, can we bring in like the eyes of Hephaestus himself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you would like to.
To bear witness to our
Yeah.
our forge of heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. So call them
It will
fate cutting.
kill.
It would kill. Yes, thank you.
Yep. What is his name? Doug. You summoned
Doug.
Doug.
Yeah. From
New god
Forged
on
in
the
Fire.
new name on the board. New god in the pantheon. Doug Markaida.
Yep. Edged weapon specialist.
Edged weapon.
on the hit reality TV show Forged in Fire, currently available on Hulu.
What are we sponsored now?
I wish.
That would be so
That'd be
amazing.
great.
Oh my! Look, I would take half the blades that they reject. I'd be like, whatever, just send them. Just put them in a box and send them my way. Those are amazing.
So we're not even being sponsored for money now. We're just being sponsored for like cast off merch.
Yeah. Yes.
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 Okay. So I have what you guys are going up against for this challenge. You have the Shears of Atropos, which are mythic in name. They are fate cutting, which will make this epic, because basically you are going to get hurt doing this. It's gonna hurt. And then they are also shattered, which makes this perilous. So there's some pathos on the line. There's a little bit of divine favor on the line.
You have to spend it to get into it. Right?
Yeah, it's being made mythic either way. So, and remember, if you can't mark a divine favor, you mark a fate.
Yeah,
which is appropriate for this contest.
Nice. Okay.
The dice aren't as mean as the past like 8 contests.
Those have been some rough contests.
Because that was like 4d10 I was rolling. This is 2d8s and a d10.
Okay.
So it's not quite as it could still roll just as high, but
yeah,
we'll see. What do we got? All right, I've clicked the thing. Did it go? Oh wait, well I clicked the thing, but I didn't click any of those, so that keeps it from doing anything. There we go. Wow. Target number 13.
Okay.
And let me swap over to the one that. There we go. The stream can see this.
Cool.
Yeah. So everyone may now, get all of your things together. I'm gonna assume everybody's taking part in this contest. Is anyone not taking part in this contest?
Xenon will.
You said we could use pretty much any of the options.
So you have to use craft and reason because there's a certain amount of craft that has to go into this, but you can always spend a pathos to add a second domain. Which would be easy to do in this situation. It'd be pretty easy to justify any domain. Even arts and oration, really, because you can be like.
And just so I know, real quick, what is the the epic?
So epic and mythic, so you will have to mark a divine favor and a pathos in order to take part in this contest. And if you suffer, you will mark an additional pathos.
Okay, and if we don't have any divine favor, then we have to mark
a fate.
Okay.
Even if you're not in agony.
And if we're in agony, we're marking straight fate for all of
fate
this.
For all of this, unless you have divine favor.
Okay.
Okay. So one of them requires you to click a pathos.
Yep.
So that's pathos, which puts me into agony, and then you have to check a fate.
Yep.
Okay. And one of them requires a fate.
If we
don't have divine favor.
Divine favor.
I don't have any divine favor.
Okay, so that requires.
Then the last one. Then the third one required something else, or the third one was just like your life is on the line for doing it.
If you suffer, then you'll have to mark another fate in that case.
Okay, cool. It's got a dot in it. I'm fine with that.
That's where I'm at too. Like, hey, there is a boon here.
Get the cookies.
Take the pain, get the cookies. Okay. Yeah, Shadow-wise, Farsighted Xenon will absolutely take up this challenge.
Moirai will take on this challenge.
Hilarion will take on this challenge.
We've already called on a god to look at this, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Hephaestus is here.
Yeah. Xenon calls to Hephaestus to bear witness to our Forge of Heroes.
What's your name die? Zach Dax?
Oh, yeah. Xenon's name die is a D10.
Okay. And what do we do for if we spend a bond with a god, not a divine favor?
If you spend a bond with a god, you get a D12. And they actually manifest their power in some way. It's not just like a cool breeze. It's like a lightning bolt. So yeah, you have to work that into your narration, how that god's power like manifests, kind of deal.
So how many of us are doing that?
I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You don't fix them.
You don't fix them. Shit. Is everybody here a D10 on the name die?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Okay, fair enough.
And if we need to spend pathos to patch in another domain, but we don't have any pathos, it's fate.
It's fate. Yep.
Cool. All right.
You get one track. You got one.
I'm gonna blow up by the end of this session. It's gonna be great.
Sweet.
God.
Well, that was close too.
Oh, you hate to see it.
Okay,
Well, Hilarion's taking on some. This one. This. We got this. It makes sense. Just maybe not the other three of you do that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, that is an important. That's an important
great,
thing to mention.
Our great deeds and trophies are a D10 as well, correct?
Yep. Any of those that you use.
And who had the advantage? One of us had an advantage.
Whoever was.
I had an advantage, and I used it last thing to save my family.
Yeah, the other thing. Okay, nice.
Oh, thank goodness.
The other thing. I'm trying to think, what else? The other thing is that because you guys won the Seas contest, you set the stakes for this. So you guys are going to prevail, so that's fine. But you get to decide now how this turns out in addition to like.
Oh, yeah. So I think that Xenon's biggest deal would have been like, obviously that we are going to return the Shears in full working order, and that it will be that those Shears will have a part of us that stays with them. So it will be known that we are the menders of the Shears of Fate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that like nobody's going to notice that I rewrote time.
All right. Well, Xenon, test your fate.
Yeah. Well, 1 second. I gotta spend my last favor because even though I see the things, I'd already told myself to spend it, so I'm gonna do it.
That's good. That's the way to play. All right. Excellent. Phaedrus is gonna get another goodie, and that's fun. Phaedrus is just racking up the goodies.
He's got the goodies, man.
Always gets best in the finale. All right.
He's willing to spend the fate to do it. That's the thing, is that none of us really go as hard as Phaedrus does.
Yeah. So that's actually
here for a good time, not a long time, right?
It's the one mortal is like, let's go.
Grab him like it's told.
Oh my god.
All right. So starting with Hilarion, how do you help in this process of reforging the Shears, and how do you suffer?
Well, see, here's the thing. Hilarion's job is to hold these Shears, right? He's got to hold it there. And he called on his bond with Xenon to like tell him what to hold and how. And so he's holding it there, you know. And he even called on a bond with Hermes, because this is pretty daring. I mean, we're fixing the Shears of Fate and hoping no one notices.
By hand, when none of us are Smiths. Like, this is about as janky as it gets, and we're trying to pass this shit off and think it's still going to cut the strands of fate. Like, I'm sure it's not that they were gold is the reason why these cut the strands of fate. It's because they were magically crafted in some special way. And we think that 4 idiots with a rock can beat these things back together and make it work, okay? Like, I don't know if anybody thought... a star metal rock, okay? It's not just some rock.
Yeah, Hilarion gave his club to Xenon, and it was like, all right, let's whack this bitch.
Yep.
I mean, that's probably exactly how that went.
Yep.
He suffers because when Xenon told him how to hold this, right? He said, hold this. He did not take into account the circumference of the hammer he was going to be hitting with. which means that he flattened one of Hilarion's thumbs.
That's yep.
Just whammo. And Ryan had to bite that down. Because he's got to hold it. He's got to hold it. People are doing stuff, and he's doing. There's a look like we might not want to be off again, but you're gonna take another swing, buddy. Let me inch these thumbs back in a little bit and tuck them. We're gonna tuck the thumbs back. But ooh, that was a doozy. That was oof.
Yeah.
And you can actually see as like, because it's bleeding, it's bleeding. You can see as like some of your blood is like mixing in with like the molten parts of this as they're being like broken down to be reforged.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have rose gold shears down.
Rose gold shears, absolutely. All right, next up is Makaria.
So Makaria is the one that has helped binding the pieces that have broken together using the magic that she calls upon. She uses the knowledge of Apollo to figure out what pieces should fit together and then what needs to be filled in, like magical glue of the strongest stuff from the gods. And that blood from Hilarion also kind of gets mixed into this, which helps. It's a little coagulant. It helps bring it all together.
It's got the essence of war. Which is pretty good.
I mean, it is. He is demigod, right? So so it mixes with it, and she just helps bring it all or mend it so that the blades are the pieces that they should be now.
Yeah, all of the like small like parts, which I mean I know that typically in shears it's just like a pin, but there's more. These are magic shears, so there's a little more to it than that. But all those parts have been like successfully reforged at this point. So now Xenon.
Oh, yeah, that's me. So yeah, Xenon is busy about the use of this hammer. Right. I called upon my bond with Hilarion to borrow his hammer. The star metal chunk of rock that it is would be key in the success of this forging and the mending of this blade of these shears. And Xenon struck hard and true, and didn't even notice really that he had flattened Hilarion's fingers, because once you start, you cannot stop. And went about the business of repairing these as well as he could. And I think that for Xenon's part, what he used some insights from Hecate herself to be guided in exactly how to do this, and when and how to strike. And I think that Xenon's sweat gets in here, because Xenon works himself up into such a fervor and in striking this and hammering and that sort of thing, that like his sweat gets mixed in with that blood, as just part of his like effort is to an ungodly, not ungodly, but to a near godly level. His muscles are bulging, and the room stinks of Jim. As he's working this place.
You all can see that as Xenon is working, Xenon's shadow, which is being like cast against the side of the forge by like the light of it. You can see that the figure there is not lithe and nimble Xenon, but this larger figure that's a bit perhaps like knobby and like deformed is like hammering in the shadow with Xenon as the hammer strikes.
That's cool.
And Phaedros. Phaedros is here to tie it all together, as this mortal has time and time again.
Yes. So Phaedros sees that the shears are here, and they're like physically put back together. But Phaedros calls on a bond with Hera, cunning, who appreciates that there are mortals here who are trying to fix divine craft work without going to the divines to do it. Right? Like we're not taking these back to Hephaestus to reforge. We're going to do it and not really mention it to them, anybody, but like try to get some assistance along the way. So I think she appreciates that, undercurrent to it. I think Hera's being involved manifests as like Phaedros, who also, he taps in resolve and spirit in a second. So like he does that thing where like, oh, Phaedros with his dark eyes that like go bigger and blacker than they should be, has this like fan of like, it's like the feathers of a peacock if they were made of like black smoke that kind of expand behind him, because peacock is one of Hera's symbols. But he with Hera's guidance is able to have some of these shades that are left behind because their threads of fate have gone askew, and kind of like bring them in and guide them into this thing to kind of like help, like, okay, we put the car back together, now we got to jumpstart the battery, like, kind of focus some of that supernatural power back into them so that they will be able to cut these magical threads.
Yeah, and I think it's the like chill of the shades that cools the shears and sort of like brings them. It's like the quench, right? It's the quench.
Damn it, even.
It's just accurate, okay? It doesn't have to be a Forged in Fire reference.
Let's get into this bucket of shades.
He quenched too soon?
He quenched 6 times. It's going to be demelamination. No.
They're shade etched, right?
Shade
like,
etched, yeah.
Like
Shade
give them the
etched.
shade bath so you can see the
Damascus.
the Damascus.
Oh,
you know what?
Okay.
We're a bunch of fucking nerds.
Yeah. We watch TV, guys.
What?
You didn't know? We watch TV.
Wait, a bunch of people playing tabletop RPGs on the internet are nerds? I don't... What?
Who
But
all
yes.
went and bought an item from that one weapon shop in the mall when they were teenagers?
Yeah, Mall Ninja. Yeah, I was totally a
I've-
Mall Ninja
I've seen-
for
I've
like
seen
at
it.
least once.
I was the one who, when I went on vacation, I found the souvenir shop that had all the swords, and that's where I bought swords. $20 for a katana.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Pretty
You gotta get your Bowie knife when you go to the Alamo, right?
Mhm.
You know
I
what
can't
really
show that on
says
Twitch,
Myrtle
actually.
Beach when you go home? is a katana. $20 katana.
You know what's worse than that? Getting one from Branson, Missouri.
Nice.
Forged in the Ozarks, baby. All right.
I had a sweet shirt with a picture of a deer head on it that I got there. Never.
Yes. But yes, you have succeeded in reforging the shears of Atropos.
We did it.
Okay. All right. So you've prevailed. Remember, if you prevailed, you get half the glory rounded. We'll say rounded up. I think that's what it is. So
That's what we
7.
do. Yeah.
7 glory. Phaedros,
But
you
I
get
suffered,
13.
so I don't.
You suffer, so you get 1. And I think everybody what did we do? Did we do everybody who succeeds gets the bond? I have already
That's-
forgotten from the last time.
That's how we have been doing it. If you want to change that, that's fine.
I think everybody. You did some nice forge work, so I think Hephaestus is going to be like, yeah, you guys are cool.
Okay.
In more words than that, of course, but
Right.
or maybe even less words. I think Hephaestus is probably pretty shy as a deity. A little self-conscious maybe a bit, but yeah, so you all have reforged the shears. You have them. What do you do with them?
Keep them for ourselves.
Sweet. All right, moving on. Next time. Let's go. To the exit.
Go back. We used them to free Prometheus. And then
No,
There it is.
We're
There
gonna
it is.
return them to the fates.
Yeah. That was probably our goal.
That's our goal.
So you guys
We do all
go.
this shit.
You guys go back up to. You guys go back up to the giant temple atop the hill that is just beyond human scale. You can see the rubble from where just fate itself tried to kill you earlier, which was fun and cool and good. Inside the temple are Kellos and I forgot the other person's name.
Oh yeah.
I think it's
Spyridon?
Euphemia.
Oh, Euphemia. My apologies.
Yeah, Spyridon. No, Spyridon's lost in a cave in the gorge.
That's right.
And will actually never die. And that's a problem. But we'll talk about that problem later. Hades. Oh my god,
we didn't even include that in our stakes. Shit.
Oh well, no, that was already that was from the threat phase. That was said and done. There was nothing you could have done about that.
Okay, fair enough. Good.
Spyridon got lost. That's just it happens. So Euphemia and Kellos are in there, and they're kind of like no longer arguing. Euphemia just isn't really talking. She's just sort of kind of arms crossed over, just kind of looks a bit downcast, and Kellos is trying to avoid the eyes of the Moirai, which are just kind of like looking at him like he's in trouble. That all of them with their one covered eye, the one eye that you can see on each of them is just all looking at Kellos, but they look up at you guys when you walk in, and sort of look at you expectantly and just like what's happened? Did you find them?
Yeah, Xenon will step forward and produce the shears and pronounce that they have been found, though upon their discovery they were broken, and we have levied the use of your farrier's forge to mend these and to infuse them with the energies and powers needed for them to continue to cut the strands of fate.
You see, they all kind of like look at each other like, who are these? Impressive.
Hilarion's blood is infused within these works and these machinations. Makaria's magics will forever bind these shears, and my sweat and Phaedros's ingenuity will. Phaedros's what is it? How would I introduce the shades? Phaedros's consort with the shades ensures that these will always be able to perform their necessary tasks, and then he'll hold them up as in an honorful way, bowing deeply and holding them as high as he can, so these fates can pluck them without having to.
Really as soon as he gets them all the way up, Hilarion says, "We hope."
Hilarion.
And you see Atropos will walk up and will grab the shears, and she kind of holds them between a few fingers, whereas you're holding these and hefting them, but she holds them and takes them into account. And
plus they're like hedge clippers, hers are like tweezers.
Yeah. She's got scissors. But she will go over to the loom, and you see her, there's all these strands just kind of before her, and she's looking at them, and kind of looking like she's trying to pick one. And you see as she pulls one, and it's this bright red strand of fate. Some they're all different colors. They all look a bit different, these strands. But she pulls one, and then you see as she takes the shears and she snips it. And you all do have that moment of am I okay? Was that me? Because somebody's dead now, basically. Their strand is ended. But you see no one has fallen immediately in your immediate visit. Maybe someone somewhere is now dead. You don't know. But you can see as it cut through deftly, with no problem whatsoever. And you can see as she walks back over and she looks between all of you and she says, "Oh, this is a mess." And she does 2 more snips, and the knots of fate that were connecting you with Euphemia and Kellos and connecting you all together just kind of fall. And Phaedros and Makari, you can see as the strands of fate being cut, just kind of where they were tangled come apart and then form back together as sort of independently.
I'd like look over at Phaedros. Like, you see that? I see that.
It's a good thing.
Right.
I'm sure it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah,
Okay,
you want that. You don't want him to just be shorter, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, you and then you see as Atropos kind of looks at the other two fates and kind of nods, and they look to you all and say, thank you, first of all. We have a lot of work to do. But one of you deserves a reward, I think. And they all sort of go back over to the loom. And this special reward works a little different. It doesn't really go on your character sheet. But she picks and looks to Phaedros. And she says, Phaedros, if you could change one thing, what would you change? We can say no.
I mean,
Can't say what?
Let's hold up the sign again.
They look at him and they say, we can say no.
Just hold it up.
Okay. So yeah, the sign is negated if they're going to be able to say no. They're allowed to not agree with that at all. I don't know where my notebook is.
What a question, right?
Yes. And I don't have my notebook and I don't have Legend Keeper open because, Legend Keeper, it's a great tool if you need to organize your campaign, your writing project,
and know what your characters' deepest desires are so that you can bring them up in moments like this.
Remember the names of all those NPCs that you had to interact with before that were like kind of significant at the time?
You could save Timmy.
Or his own friend.
That's yeah, like where did his name go? Where's his name? Yes, Nicarchus.
Mm-hmm.
He would save Nicarchus.
Mm-hmm. And you see them like look between each other. And they say, would you take the blow for Nicarchus?
Oh, I don't remember what hit him.
I think he got speared by like a harpoon or something. But it
like it was like the island with all the mechanical stuff.
Yeah, it was
something like that.
Island,
yeah. No, he was as my brother, but from another family. I knew him my whole life. Like, yes, I would certainly, do what it takes to save him and, have him on his way home and protect his family.
Yeah. You see as the fates go and sit. Lachesis is the one who goes and like finds a tapestry from the wall and just pulls it down. They're like these enormous tapestries, but on the scale of them, they can just kind of grab them and like throw it over their arm. And I'm not going to do too much talk about how looms work because Heather will get mad at me for being wrong. But
we're going to have an extensive watch party on YouTube after this is over to learn everything there is about historical looms.
He's probably got a playbook ready for you.
But you see is almost faster than your eyes can follow as the three of them work together. They're cutting some strands and like rearranging some. And the tapestry of your ship being pulled into this mechanical maw changes slightly. And you all again have that feeling of like intense like nausea and like vertigo as like something's weird.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But Sure enough, fate is rewritten. And this is a bit weird considering that you ended up taking an injury for this. What does that injury look like on Phaedros? Phaedros is not dead, but Phaedros has taken an injury that has kind of changed him, I think. It was a pretty severe one.
I think there's probably like there's a definite shift in like his posture. Like as it changes, because like it was something that like maybe wasn't like, oh, you get speared through significant organ as much as like, oh, such and such couple joints are kind of out of whack now.
No.
Yeah, so like he's kind of skewed a bit to the side and like has a little bit of a shuffle to his step.
Yeah, I think maybe even there's like a sort of like clockwork brace as well, maybe on a leg to kind of help move it along.
I can dig it. Yeah.
Kind of deal. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, you actually can remove a point of fate from your fate track. You get to keep the boon. Upgrade. No, you get to keep the upgrade, but you can't take it again. I'll let you keep it, but you do get to remove a point of fate. And that is the reward for this island, is that whoever is best gets to rewrite one thing, and they get to remove a dot from their fate track, which, you know, Phaedros probably needs it. I think he's probably farthest along.
Yep.
I now have 5 left. That's
okay. How's everybody looking on fate, actually?
I'm pretty good. I've only spent 3.
Okay.
I just used my first fate one.
Nice.
Read for me.
Okay. Yeah, so Phaedros, it makes sense, right? The mortal hero has used a lot more fate. But yes. And so, yeah, they reweave this for you and then get back to work, essentially. They go back to weaving new threads of fate. Ones that need to be cut are cut. And so now we move into the Exodus phase, because you all have succeeded. This island strife has been handled, and now you guys kind of get to tell me what happened. Especially to all the people who were Groundhog Day ended up. That's on you all to decide now as we determine the fate of the island.
You just get all Thanos stabbed. Despair.
It's done. Let me actually pull up what happens. So first is the destiny of the island. So I need to change our scenes real quick. Bam. We all move a little bit. Type this up. Okay, so let's see. We'll start with having reforged the Shears of Fate. The Moirai continue their work, and fate continues as it should. I think that's fair to say. It's a good place to start. What else happens? So we have the people. We have the people that we have to sort of talk about what happens to them. Kellos and Euphemia. Spyridon, his fate has been sealed, so we can talk about that. But what happens to the others? Because I think that's on you all to decide.
Is it? I mean,
it's not literally you guys doing something. It's you all as players deciding what happens on this island. So,
I think
you've succeeded. You've succeeded everything. You see the Seas contest and the finale contest, and so everything goes as you would like it to.
Right.
Even if that's not like happy for the island, it's still a triumph. And it's just things go on as they should.
I think that what would feel the best is if the people who are it's 2 people left, right, that have skipped out on death.
There's like several.
Okay, so
because the thing was, the people on the island were like, there's a few of them that just died on this day, and they woke up the next day after this had happened. But Spyridon was the first.
Okay.
But there's other people have had accidents and things like that and not died. as a result of the Shears being missing.
Gotcha.
But the other thing is that all of this crap started not just because Homeskill threw the Shears down the thing to save his friend, but because the other chick tried to kill Spyridon.
Right.
So I think we should show them both in the gorge.
What happens to Euphemia and Kellos?
That feels a little over the top, but at the same time, hilarious. Hilarion's the leader. So
Yeah.
I don't think they both.
All of this crap happened because she wasn't happy that she was good enough, that she was the best. So she decided to kill the dude that provided the golden fleece in the first place. So, or the threads for whatever. So,
yeah. I think that both of them should be rejected by the roles that gave them their standing, right? Like, I think her flock should reject her.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that Kellos's shop should go into disrepair, and that those two need to find other lives. That there are going to be new people who rise up that are of just better stock, that will take up those tasks, those jobs.
Well, and I think not that we need to throw them in the gorge, but maybe they have to suffer wandering, because the people of the town that they are in turn their back on them because of the
It's Hilarion's decision, right? He gets to make the call.
I mean, so at this point, it's more like what happens on the island. Your guys' job is done.
Well,
and your guys' job isn't necessarily to be like the arbiters of law and be like, all right, these guys die now.
I think everybody's talked Hilarion out of just killing them. The dude they sharpened the shears, was he the only one that could sharpen the shears?
He was the only one who did. That's the thing. This island has this weird tradition thing where it's not like who can, it's who does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that is a thing of pride. It's a point of pride. It's not a
right.
So Hilarion thinks that stupid head that tried to kill the other dude. What's her name?
Euphemia.
She should have to give up her flock. She was the second best or whatever of the sheep people. But the big problem on this island is that everybody had their own secret thing that they did. So now her job is she gets no glory. She is not in charge of a flock of sheep. She has to go and meet with every person and find out what everybody does to their sheep, and then pool that knowledge and freely give it to everybody else so that there will be sheep for the future, because Homeboy's sheep is going to be fine for a little while they're out there, but then we're going to have substandard wool. Mm-hmm. So somebody's gotta do that. But if she was all about being super proud, that she let her pride get in the way, so now she gets none of that pride. She has to gather that info and ask other people for their advice, pull it, and then give it out to everybody so everybody knows what's being done.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's what she has to do. Dummy that threw or at least that's Hilarion's opinion.
Yeah, I think that's good. So Euphemia, having confessed to the murder of Spyridon, she will confess that she did trip him on this bridge in a moment of just jealousy, that she knew she was going to lose this too, kind of deal. She's stripped of her flock and takes on a new role of compiling the secrets of the sheep herds of the island for the betterment of all the flocks of Chordia. This knowledge will be compiled and shared so that all sheep on the island are, sort of raised better. Kellos.
I think that Kellos, maybe he now has to atone for the loops of fate that he created. and he has to go and like find the people stuck in this undying state, so that the fates can locate them and do what is necessary.
Gotcha.
And Hilarion's going to punch him.
And he gets one solid sucker punch.
I mean, we didn't discuss that, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, okay, I accept my...
It's more where that came from if you fail this effort.
If I have to turn that boat around and come back, don't help me.
Because I imagine that all of these like times where people didn't die, like sussing all of those out would be difficult, and there has to be some mortal that is tasked with that, and it should be him.
Yeah, basically. So basically, he's going to go around and find everybody who is like that, and then sort of bring their names back to the Moirai and work out with them sort of when their fate should end. Because I don't think Atropos especially, because these people couldn't help it, really, like at that point. They didn't do this on purpose, right?
Right.
And so I think she sort of allots, or who's the allotter? Lachesis is going to help with like allotting them a specific amount of life to have left that's perhaps shortened for the amount of times that they have died in this weird state. And then, Atropos knows to cut it early or something like that. So they lose some time, but I don't think they just all have to die immediately.
Okay.
So I've got here, Kellos, having abused his position as sharpener of the Shears in order to spare his friend, must now seek out those spared from fate in service to the Moirai. And gets a sick right hook from Hilarion.
Loses a tooth,
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Spyridon, lost in the gorge. In the Forgotten Gorge, that's what it is. Wanders for eternity.
Yeah. In
the realm of dreams.
I like these like very mythic punishments to these mortals. Like this feels like the sorts of things that you read in mythology. It's like this once jealous sheep herder now must spend her life in servitude to the betterment of all other sheep herders.
Yep.
Like that's good. That's good in Greek right there.
Yeah. So that I think that covers pretty much everything. We have all of our named characters. We have the main thing on the island. Yeah. I think that is our fate. Is what happens to the island.
Sweet.
Yeah. Excellent. So that's that part of the game done now. We've done that. Next up is great deeds. So now, what is everyone's great deed for this island that they would like to claim? A great deed or a trophy? It could be something that happened last week or this week, honestly.
Who was it that got the fates to stop? Who won that contest?
Not sure. We'd have to scroll back up. That was a...
And I've got a bond with Atropos on my list.
Okay, so that would be
something that everybody got, or if that was
that was for being best in that contest.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it now.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, looks like Phaedrus was the one there. Yeah. Well, let me double check that. Let me see. There's one here. Okay, arts and oration.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I see it now. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it was Phaedrus. If you have the bond with Atropos, that was what you get for being best in that contest. So if that's what you got, then that's what it was. I can't find the exact role, but yeah.
Seems like then it could be something like calmer of fates, or something like that, like something to like intertwine him with the like betterment of the fates in some way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other contests that happened that Phaedros didn't win. As I scroll through these, there's a lot. Phaedros did very well.
Phaedros does very well, except for in threat contests recently.
Yep.
Oh man.
Resources, just throw problem. Keep early. Yeah.
Trying to think of what are some of the other events that happened on this island. Like I'm sorry to struggle like this.
Do we want to take our break now for people to think of their great deeds? Because it's about 9:13. So.
Sure, that's a great way of looking at it.
Cool. All right, so we'll do that and give you guys some time to think. What else should you guys think on? Maybe think on the questions you want to ask during the voyage phase.
Yes.
During the fellowship, which is pretty soon. But there, think of a great deed and the virtues you'd like to bestow, all that kind of stuff. But we'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Sweet.
Anything to add, David? Or we just
no, we're just gonna go to break, guys. We'll be back in 10.
Bye. Back in 10. And we're back. Here we are.
This is excellent.
We made it.
We did. We survived break. Everyone, thanks for hanging in there. We had extended deliberations. Also, my child would not go to sleep, so I had to help with that.
I think it was only like a 12-minute break as opposed to the 10 we promised. So we did better than we normally do.
It's good. It's good. I take back everything I said.
Yeah.
We're on schedule. Let's go.
It's fine. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I take it all back. Also, my kid's a little monster.
Please help. Send help, please.
Send help. Ambien. Whatever you got.
Ambien, Xanax.
An address. We'll ship him to you. That's
Ritalin? I'll take it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Of things my child does not need. That is definitely it. All right. So yeah, we are back and we get to do the great deeds, right?
Yep. That's for I'm on the wrong scene. We could do this one. There we go. Boom. We don't need a dice.
Yeah. All right. Add fate or add deed. My great deed. Okay.
So what is everybody choosing for their great deed?
Hilarion's gonna pick. I mean, he trusted in Hermes and all of that, so I don't know if we're gonna go like faith in the gods or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have your epithet Pillar of Faith, so I think this is just an extension of that. I think, yeah, something along those lines. Definitely, I think that was a great deed to say like, no, Hermes made me a promise. All of this must be lies.
Yeah.
You know, and to just that resolve. Maybe even like Blessed of Hermes kind of deal. I think it's fair. Something along those lines. All right. Anyone else?
I think mine is like gatekeeper. because it was like the second time that she went through, making sure the gates stay sealed. Also the Prometheus thing, but that is the more important thing to her.
Yeah.
And making sure that timeline was secure.
We'll say gatekeeper of Tartarus. That way it's not like gatekeeper of D&D, right? Moirai is not one of those. Yeah, cool. And Xenon or Phaedrus?
I am still trying to figure out how to word mine. We were kicking around ideas before, and then a little bit of talk during the break about like not necessarily like hacker of fates, or like, you know, kind of like somebody who modifies fate, but like does so for like a selfless reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna say favorite
like,
of fate. I think it sounds good to me.
Okay,
like favorite of fate.
That's a good one.
Or favorite
because hacker of fates is close to what I did, which was an unsolicited. Yeah, yes, I swordfished it.
But I think favorite of the fates is good, because not only did they listen to your words when you asked for them to stop what they were doing, they also gave you the gift of changing one thing about your life which you use selflessly. So I think they are very impressed with Phaedrus.
Yeah, of course. That's
Yeah. So yeah, how do you? Okay. I know how I would write this if this was a modern day campaign, but this is not a modern.
How would you write it if it was a modern day campaign?
Yeah, it would be something along the lines of like hacker of fates or stepper of fates.
I think just like weaver of fate. I think the fact that you took the loom into your own hands is the deed, regardless of what you did with it.
Okay. Weaver of fates.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I mean, that's technically reweaver of fates, but you know, weaver of fates is fine. That's a bit wordy.
When you patch a sock, it's called darning or something like that, isn't it?
Darner of fates.
You darn fates.
Yes.
Yeah, you darned the fates.
That's almost better. Just I'm a darner of fates.
Yeah, you just do a little. I did it. I fixed it. It's great. Yeah, that's a little, you know, it's a little less like, oh, I don't weave fate, but I could make some changes. I've made some changes.
Right. Yeah. So what is that? Would it be like yeah, see, it almost feels like Weaver does seem like it's more like an authoring, whereas this is like an editing or a manipulation or an alteration of fates.
I mean, depending on how Xenon sees it, it could be mender of fate. And then you fix something, because I think maybe that's in line with kind of how Xenon saw it too. Like, I'm fixing this thing.
Yeah, mender of fates. Yes, I like that.
Yeah,
because you're right. I mean, like Xenon has all of these like kind of foreboding epithets and stuff like that, but like in Xenon's mind, you know, Xenon is plying his skills for good, for the betterment of people and of the gods. So yeah, that works well for me. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, and I see now that the advantages, their value can change based on when you use them.
Sure.
I noticed this for the first 10 episodes in. It's fine.
What?
We're like 10 episodes in. I'm just now realizing that advantage dice, if you try to use like Champion of Nemos and like Resolve and Spirit or whatever, it might be like a D8. But if you try to use Champion of Nemos when you're fighting off an army, it's like a D10 or a D12.
Oh,
right? It's more potent because it's more applicable to the situation. Yeah.
Neat. Okay. Neat.
But that brings us to the virtues phase. Where do you guys tell each other? I tell you what I think. You did good. What virtues did you display? I think let's start with. I think we normally start with Phaedrus, right? I don't remember. We'll start with Phaedrus this time. How about that?
I feel like it happens a fair amount.
Yeah, I'm going to give. I'm going to give Phaedrus passion this time. For that show of like love and devotion to Nicarchus. You know, of like, I'm willing to give up my free pass to change any. Could have changed that time you fell down and your pants fell off in 6th grade, but you saved Nicarchus instead.
How specific of you, Ethan?
And that seems like a thing somebody would want to change.
Yeah.
You know, you could change that, but you didn't. You brought Nicarchus back, so I think passion for Phaedros.
I'm gonna go with grace for Phaedros. Compassion or care.
I'm gonna go with acumen, knowledge, wisdom, cunning, or wit. I think he showed a fair amount of that this time around.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with passion as well for his devotion to his friend. That's good. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so who's next on the layout? Hilarion. I think what is the one for Hilarion here? I'm looking at. I think courage. I think courage looks to me for bravery and daring to say no, not that. That's not it. That's not true. That's fine. And to just look at that fate and say, no, I think I'm good. I'm good. I think that's false. So, yeah.
I would give Hilarion this session grace for allowing himself to be talked out of chucking 2 people into the gorge. Because he didn't have to be talked out of that. Because Hilarion can do whatever Hilarion wants. And saw fit to see other paths to to a better future. So I'm going to give Hilarion grace for that.
Is it for this session and like
yeah,
before?
It's for this island.
Yeah, because we didn't do it last time.
Okay, then it's I'm going passion, for what he did and to make things right so that his fate wasn't altered.
Yep.
I was thinking about the same section there. I was going to go grace for it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Excellent. All right, Macaria. I think passion for Macaria, for like devotion to the order of things, really, like and then like commitment to like no, that should stay done, that thing, kind of deal. So yeah.
I think this one. Go ahead.
I was going to say acumen is pretty common for Macaria, especially when they were like debating the immortal fates of random people we may or may not know. So
Hilarion, this one's very easy for Hilarion. He's gonna go courage, and it's because when we came to the challenge where we had to dive down into the gorge, she said, I'm going to jump on your back and just whatever happens, happens. And that's got to be the bravest thing anybody's done, because you had Hilarion next to a cliff and he was jumping in. And she just put her hands out there and said, go for it. And that's, you can't not call that courage. I mean.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm going to go with passion for knowing what is right and good, and for pursuing that unabashedly. So,
Phaedros, have you given a virtue to Macaria?
Yeah,
okay,
acumen.
Gotcha. Acumen. Sweet. All right. So next is Xeno. Last but not least, what virtues can we bestow upon Xenon for his actions?
Xenon gets nothing.
See,
Nothing.
that's what I like. This is really like even if they disagree with some of the things that Xenon did, he still gets virtue.
I'm gonna go with acumen for cunning.
I'm gonna go with courage for doing that thing that he did, and risking a lot of stuff.
Hilarion's also going to go courage there because I mean that's bravado and daring, and you know, as dumb as he thinks it was, and trust me, if Hilarion thinks something is dumb, you can take that to the bank. As dumb as he thinks it is,
FDIC bet.
Yes, exactly. You can get a good mortgage on that one, buddy. That was daring. That was there's no way. So he's got to respect that at least.
Cool.
I was gonna say acumen because, that thing that we missed, and like the murderous dude who's like out on the loose, like we're just gonna stitch that across here. Like that seemed pretty cunning to me. So
I had to seal that with the seizing of the shears, right? Like that had to be included in the bounty of our winning of the final contest is like, and somehow, some way, no one ever knows that this happened. Because otherwise, all of that gets unraveled.
Yeah, and I think having them, I think part of that too was them grabbing the other tapestry to like reweave it because they were happy with you, right? And so they completely lose their place on the other one and then just have to go back to weaving things.
Sweet. That works then. Whatever it takes.
But yeah. Excellent. So I think everyone has their virtues. So now,
can we talk real quick? I just want to do a quick check-in. What is everybody's like highest virtue, and what is that number?
Who do you want to answer first?
Mine is acumen at 11.
Mine's courage at 10.
Yeah, mine's also courage at 10.
Passion at 9.
9, yeah. My passion is a 1.
Holy fuck, David.
My acumen is a 3. My passion's a 7.
That's pretty good. Grace is a 3 for me.
What's everybody's 2 highest?
Okay, so how about we just do this? My acumen is 5. My courage 4. Grace is 6. Passion is 9. I think I'm a little more rounded than some of you.
Grace and passion. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna have an effect. Your 2 highest are what determines like the title that you take in your heroic legend.
Gotcha.
Hilarion has an acumen of 3, a courage of 10, a grace of 5, and a passion of 7.
Nice.
Okay, so passion and courage. Oh, nice. Yep. I'm looking at these titles, and like these fit. So
they're fitting.
It's good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Phaedros has an acumen of 6, a courage of 10, a grace of 4, and a passion of 4.
So acumen
and courage are the 2 highest, but the other 3 are they're pretty close.
Y'all are all so much better rounded than I am. Acumen 11, courage 9, grace 3, passion 1.
Yeah, I think that the acumen and courage titles I don't think fit too great for you guys, but we'll see. We'll make up our ones.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the other 2, I'm like, yeah.
Those are fitting. That's good. That's good.
Okay, sweet. So that next we are at the reflection phase. So you decide if your epithets apply. If you think any of them no longer apply, you may change them. So does anybody want to change any of their epithets?
I'm very happy with my epithets.
Okay, sweet.
Getting a lot of mileage out of them at this stage.
All right. So with that, we begin the voyage phase once more. You all have left the island to its own devices, with the things you set in motion and the sort of effects of your deeds in play. And yeah, Nakarkis is there.
Oh yeah.
looks a bit like disoriented at times, but it gets better. And over the like first day of you all just kind of like sailing out, he's back to normal. You know, and composing poetry once more. Sometimes it's slightly unsettling still, perhaps prophetic in nature.
Yeah.
But Nakarkis is back and better than ever, and doesn't seem to really remember dying, which is good. That's good. You don't want to remember that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where like we come back to the ship and he's there and you kind of like give him like the one arm like pat you on the back hug. He seems very confused about why. Like you just went out to do the thing a little while ago. What's that about? Like,
did anybody talk to Hilarion about that? Because otherwise, Hilarion's gonna be like, dude, you're not dead. How are you doing?
I think for like most everyone, like by the time that weird like nausea kind of left you, you forgot that other like fate. I think that if anyone would remember, it would be Phaedros, having declared it to be changed. And I think that's just like Xenon remembers what Xenon did, but no one else quite remembers that things were different.
Yeah,
like they had that feeling of like, oh, something's off, but like they don't quite remember exactly. I think that's how I would like to handle it, just to keep it from being like a like too have it be a little mysterious,
It also makes sense. Like the fates are so powerful, right? That it like rewrites our understanding of like what happened in our lives. Like that's incredible power.
Yeah, and I think that saves a lot. Like, can you imagine if you were aware of every time your fate changed? It would be quite bad. So I think that's also baked into the system of just not knowing when these things change, because they might change all the time. And that's the part that should be a little unsettling. How many times have your fates changed? Who knows? Yeah, and so after sort of reuniting with Nakarkis, but trying to keep it cool, keep it casual, and spending some time, we will enter into the fellowship phase where everybody's hanging out, spending some time together. Food has been prepared. You guys are all sitting under the stars. The mists have come back, as they always do. And yeah, you all are able to spend some time and speak with each other. So everyone gets to ask each other a question. There's the list that's there, which I think is pinned in our Discord chat. There's just any question you want.
Yep,
it's also acceptable.
I think Xenon has a question for Phaedros. If anybody else, if nobody else has something immediately, yeah. At some point, right, when the ship is quiet and maybe Phaedros is up for watch, and Xenon kind of knows it, so Xenon gets up and goes and finds Phaedros up at where we like handle one of the 3 oars or whatever it is that we're doing to control the ship at night. And we're sitting there, by a brazier, like warming ourselves and that kind of thing, and Xenon chatting about the island that we were on and those sorts of things, and it kind of brings up the topic again of what are we doing? Phaedros, I have a vague recollection that you had a great deal of authority over the fates at the end. I don't really remember what you chose, but I look at the world around me, and it is as I remember it, which I think is expected. But I have to ask you, what are you doing to better humanity? I feel like you've had opportunities and you've let them pass. These are ghosts of recollections I have, but I'm trusting my gut on this one when I ask you this question.
Nothing to build bonds like saying, what are you doing here, man? Are you doing enough?
What am I doing for humanity? Trying to guide these glorious heroes home. Right? We missed the part where
I'm just gonna.
I am driving here, kids.
But Phaedros knows that Xenon has a similar mindset, right? And is asking him from this place of like, I feel like you and I have a shared goal here, and I want to understand where you're at with that. So it maybe comes off as very challenging, but I think that's how Xenon talks to someone who can handle it.
Yeah, I think Phaedros would try to explain that. I think we've seen. I'm not bound to a god in the same way that the rest of you are, right? Like we've seen that time and again, and I think we've seen potential opportunities for when there would have been a time to like have gained power or knowledge for man distinct from the gods. But I don't think we've seen an opportunity when that could have been done without significant repercussions that would have probably undone the effort so far. Yeah. But I'm hoping the time is near. Let's like
Huzzah. To that I will join you, and in the hope that things can improve.
All right. Our little clay cups. Drink our wine on the deck at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you guys both mark a bond with each other and clear your pathos.
Oh, sweet. But we get to keep the fate.
Yeah, you keep the fate. There's one way to remove fate from your track in this entire game, and you've already done it.
We've already passed that moment.
You've passed it. So there's no more for the rest of the campaign. Sorry. All right.
It's like a D&D game when there's one cure light wound potion ever, you know, and like you never heal hit points naturally, right? It's just like there's one in one game, and we've got it. Phaedros drank it.
You've gotten it. You've used it. It's gone.
Now we just have to lock each other on the other side of a door with sort of beast.
That's right. Okay, who else has a question for someone? It could be Phaedros or it could be anyone else. Just whoever has a question.
I have a question if no one else is ready.
Go for it.
I've got one, but you can go ahead.
My question is for Xenon. Uncle.
Yes, Macaria.
Like sitting like on the side of the boat, the ship, like just watching the nighttime water, just sitting there. It's been quite the adventure for you, having started being the chosen of one god and then changing back to Demeter. And I know we talked about this before, but I'm wondering how you are now, and with what has happened as more shadows have gathered around you in the last couple of islands we have visited. How are you doing?
Yeah, this is it's a fair question because I feel like those I feel like my future is still in fluctuation. I believe that Artemis and I have buried the hatchet. I believe that that though the pardoning was severe and sudden, that has been mended. And it is good to be with Demeter again. But I don't know what my future holds, and I think would unsettle many people, but for some reason it doesn't unsettle me. I think I'm okay with that. I know that I don't want to return to my homeland, to my home island of Crete. I want to see what else is there. See if I can't find Demeter in other lands. I think that's what my future may hold, but the gods may have other plans for me. But if I'm given a boat and, a sense of where the guide star is, I will head in directions that most don't return from.
I think exploring would be good for you. It fits you.
Thank you. That's a good word for it, exploration. I think I will hold on to that one.
Of course.
Excellent. Who's next?
Hilarion has a question for Phaedrus.
Sweet. it's like demon and devil coming at Phaedrus. We have machinations. Why aren't you doing them? Hey, guy keeping you from doing machinations.
I'm a guy.
The orphans set the orphanage on fire.
So Hilarion will undoubtedly find himself leaning against one of the steering pillars or whatever they're called, and a nice evening and sailing away from this stupid island, and look over at Phaedrus and say, "I have a question for you, sir. You are a man of the sea, a sailor. Me, when I get home, I'm not going to look at another boat for I don't know how long. We have been stuck at sea, going from stupid island to stupid island, doing task after task, eating so much fish. So much fish. What are you going to do when you get home? Are you just going to turn around and go back out to sea? Because if you are, Phaedrus, really, that's just asking for it. At least tell me you're going to take a long weekend someplace with a lot of dirt and something. Please.
Like I'll head back to Nauplia. I'll go back to my family. And after a time of rest, I'll return to my family's fishing fleet.
Have you not learned that
I won't wander the world seeking out war unless forced again. But the sea is part of our family and it's part of how we make our living. And it's the thing that my home is known for. It is a port of sailors. I can't. I would never be able to completely avoid the sea unless completely uprooting my life and changing my entire family and everything. And I want to return to them. I don't want to abandon my way of life.
Well, I guess I get that, but man, I want some room to stretch out, Maybe an island where you can just do more than run across it in a day. Where there's more than 14 people and they've all done something stupid lately. It's just starts to wear
Don't
on.
want to keep hanging out in like tiny towns where everybody knows one another and they're all related and they've all pissed off some god.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here come the god cops to sort everything out.
Stupid heroes.
Ahab. All heroes are bastards. This we know. Well, I mean, all heroes are bastards because
wait.
they're all just weird
Where do I know the
demigods.
name Ahab? Isn't that in Moby Dick?
Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Captain Ahab, yeah.
Damn, dude.
It's a pun. It works on so many levels. It's great.
It was a pull, but he went for it. That's all.
I mean, like, and he was a bastard.
He was a bastard.
That's like, wow.
Yeah, he was obsessed. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. All right.
I think Phaedros, who still has this question to go, he would find Macaria. Maybe like everybody's kind of on deck when it's like starting to be dawn before like everybody's kind of active and around. Mm-hmm. And maybe Macaria is out there.
Macaria is always awake. No one has ever seen her sleep.
Sometimes she just
That's a spooky detail that we probably needed to know.
Sometimes she just stands there leaning on her staff, staring out at sea for like 8 hours straight without blinking, and nobody's ever really questioned that. But maybe it's sleep.
I was here for first shift. I was here when they switched from second to third shift, and I'm here at the end of third shift, third watch. And she's been here every time I checked. I mean, I guess she's wandering her off in between those points, but
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
She just same spot though. That's Macaria's spot.
The whole time.
She's on the like Uberman sleep schedule or whatever, where it's like 4 15-minute naps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What you guys don't notice?
She's the only woman on this whole ship full of men for this whole long experience, and we've all been at war.
No, there are many women on this ship. I will say that the crew's well mixed. Because the head of Phaedros' crew was a woman.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's women. Anyway,
but there's definitely like you can tell where Macaria hangs out because there's like footsteps like worn into the deck, and like where the bottom of the staff is always planted.
Yeah, you got the notch the staff is worn in between the planks. You know,
It's perfect. The spot is perfect.
The best view.
See everything that happens on the entire ship. Yes, so I think Phaedros will be there as it's like the morning, like it's starting to be dawn. He'll show up with a cup of like breakfast wine. Yes. It's safer than having tainted water on the ship. Though we have that fancy distilling gear now. But he will speak with Macaria and say that I know that the two of us were able to see something in that island that the others did not see in a very literal fashion. And I'm curious what you think of that land that we are now leaving far in our review.
But I did not know it was so easy. And this is me being foolish, I suppose. I've just never thought of it. That for fates to be so quickly intertwined. And how one small thing can affect another and then another. And then it is odd to see knots in those threads. And I wonder if everybody has knots in their threads, a difficult time or someone you no longer speak to. That being said, it's not a place I'd want to be, where the fates just are. There's too much temptation to do things to the weave. And I am surprised that the mortals there, that they hadn't done more to interfere with the fates, that the one big calamity has been these scissors or the shears, and not someone trying to rewrite something or shorten someone's thread. So I say they're a brave people, but not an island I would want to return to necessarily.
Agreed.
And yes, I saw those things too. I think that you and I share some insights on things that Hilarion and Xenon do not see and do not take into account. And maybe we need to continue.
Sometimes I think that may be best.
I don't disagree. But we just need to remember to guide them, since they cannot see the things we do.
Think of ourselves as making a big ditch, boulder to roll through. So it's going right here.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. So everyone can remove all their pathos if you haven't already. And mark your bonds with whoever you asked a question to and all that good stuff. Now we come to the sacrifice. Who has the most glory? And that's not counting any to upgrade your name die. That's like just how much you currently have.
22.
I mean, it does include the boxes, but like you don't count what you've already spent to upgrade your name die, if that makes sense.
22.
22. Gotcha.
27.
27. We're all fresh off those upgrades.
57.
Yeah.
57. Wow. Oh, you're muted.
David's muted.
Damn. All right. Sorry about that. 58.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
All right.
I think so. Wait, hold on. 40. Oh, no. 60, 70, 73.
I was going to say, because I thought you were one ahead of me last time. So, yeah.
All right, sweet. So, Xenon, you, I think for the first time, maybe we'll be leading the sacrifice. I don't know that you've done that.
I've led it once more.
Once before? Okay. So you will lead the sacrifice, which means something. You will choose like the main god that is, I think that you're going for. I need to find, there's more to this. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, so there will be the 2d6 plus nothing. The best hero earns 1 bond with a deity. And then everyone marks 2 divine favor.
Okay.
Let me roll that for you guys now.
It feels like more and more our group is in debt to Hephaestus. So I think given Hephaestus's witness of our machinations in the last island and his guidance in repairing the Shears and all the ways that Hephaestus has been helping us, really, I want to make sure that this grand offering goes to Hephaestus first, and then the others as we will. But
all right, target number 6 for this one.
Okay.
Which is the highest it can be. So I guess the gods are maybe a little. There's some opinions.
Sure.
Put the dice roller back. Yeah, so everyone may test their fate with their resolve and spirit and do as they wish, and then we'll see how the sacrifices go. And then there's leadership, and then it's giving out cookies in the form of stars that may or may not help you get home.
That's right.
Okay. Who is left?
I think we've all gone.
Oh,
and me and Hilarion tie for last.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I shouldn't hear as many sounds. Yeah. All right. So whoever between you wants to start. Doesn't really matter. But what are you sacrificing, and what is the? I think maybe Xenon first, since you're leading the sacrifice, because you would go first.
Sure.
Right? So.
Sure. Yeah. So Xenon, we heat the pyre up, get it good and hot. And since we're given to Hephaestus, we can put some like forging coals on there and put things like into that, right? And I think that Xenon is going to. I'd like to say that that leather satchel that Xenon used to wrap the Shears of Fate, right? That when they held the Shears of Fate in their broken form, still have flecks of this like divine metal in there, right? And Xenon knows that this is perhaps even greater of importance than star metal, or maybe it is star metal. But either way, remnants of it even should not be on this land, and that I should give it back to Hephaestus. So he's going to take that leather wrap that has this like these like little like splinters and shards of this divine metal, and he's going to bury that into the coals of this brazier and burn that to Hephaestus, so that even the like, what is this? Even the damaged pieces of divine goods should not be in the hands of mortals.
Yeah. And I think as you give that, the flames, they change color. They are now multicolored as this metal is like smelting, and its like core essence is mixing into the fire. So you get this bright multicolored flame now that continues.
Sweet.
Hilarion. So you mark 2 divine favor now with any god of your choice.
Okay.
So probably Hephaestus and then somebody else.
Right.
Hilarion will step forward, and he will reach into his belt pouch and pull out a small cloth handkerchief that everyone has seen before. Hilarion is a big man, but not just muscular. He's a brawny man, and often does things that draw a bit of sweat. And so he has often been seen wiping his brow with this handkerchief. But he has just as often been seen washing it clean and airing it to dry and taking care of it. And so he steps forward and he holds up the handkerchief. And he looks at it for a moment, and a small smile crosses his face, and he says, we are not, well, we are to a degree born heroes. But it takes many deeds as well as your lineage to become a hero. Take Phaedros, for example. He's not born of divine, and yet is a hero. There are many who are born of divine and accomplish nothing. It is, you have to set out and accomplish great deeds and build your name. This is a reminder of one of the very first challenges that I took up. Me and several other would-be heroes were traveling and boasting and such. And we came to this great cliff, and on the edge of the cliff, overlooking the water, was this massive keep, this castle for the lord of that land as it looked out over. And boasting that it was so high and all night. I don't truthfully recall who made the original dare, but I rose to the challenge that I could climb not just the cliff, but the keep itself, and steal the shiny bauble that we could not tell what it was from the top of the tower. And so I began to climb. And it took me hours to climb this cliff. But I was young and a child of Aries, and strength was on my side. And to be honest, perhaps a bit of foolishness, and the fortification of far too much wine. I made it up the cliff. The castle, though, boded a whole other thing. The brickwork was done well, and it was tight, and it was all I could do to climb this. And I made it past the first story and the second, but I remember pulling myself up to the window of this third floor and just panting and resting on the ledge, my body practically hanging off and taking all of my strength. And then I looked up and I was face to face with the most beautiful creature I had ever seen in my life. There, in front of this window, 3 stories up, not a balcony, just a window, was a young woman sitting pleasantly in her bath. And she was less pleased to see me than I was to see her. All of my strength from climbing was brought back to me, and the power, just the beauty of it, and all I could do. I forgot about how tired my arms were. I forgot about my trembling legs. All I could do was stare. Unfortunately, she did not approve and promptly grabbed the kettle that was heating water for her and hit me in the face with it. And this cloth is from her window, from her curtain, because that's all I could hold on to as I fell and landed and rolled down the cliff. And that, he says, as he lays the cloth on the fire, is the story of the first challenge that I lost and how I met my wife.
It's always a journey, isn't it? Yes, you place this cloth upon it, and it catches and it burns, and you hear many of the gods of Olympus have similar tales, for better or for worse. And yeah, your offering is received. From whom are you asking divine favor for this?
Well, I think Hephaestus, just because, you know, of what that is, but I'm gonna say the second would be from Beauty, from Aphrodite, because of how I was struck by the beauty of my wife and in the window.
Yep. All right. You got it. Excellent. Who's next? Who's next? Who did the next best? Who do we got?
Phaedrus.
Phaedrus.
Top that, Phaedrus. I'm glad I don't go after him.
I was gonna say, can I point out the problem with this system now is that now somebody has to follow that story.
It's always a journey.
Last time it was me.
It's always a journey.
So I think Phaedrus will come up and he'll approach the brazier, and he'll reach into like a pouch at his belt or something like that, and he'll bring out 2 like totally different lengths of like kind of like heavy twine yarn, looking like it's fairly heavy string. But as it catches the light, you can see it like kind of like shimmering at the ends of each end where it's been cut. And he will say these are 2 strands that, you know, I wouldn't have probably had hold of. They could have been anything, but instead they were the return of a friend. And he will put them in the fire. A couple of the threads that got snipped when they were reweaving that tapestry.
Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, who are you getting divine favor from? That's great.
I think one of those is Hera, who helped in that process. Yeah. And the other is Hephaestus, because we were reforging the Shears. Trying to do him right. So
yeah, those little strands, they kind of do that thing that like the like thread will do, where it kind of curls and like floats as it burns.
Yep.
And you see as they kind of like it sparkles as they kind of get consumed by the fire. And Makarian.
Makaria quietly approaches the altar and pulls from a pouch what looks to be fine sand. And she holds it for a moment and mumbles something incomprehensible to anyone else, and tosses it into the brazier. And the brazier lights up with light and fire, and it's this explosive powder that they came across as they were working on the shears. Some offset of what they were working on, and this fire is cool. So it doesn't spark off flame, but it rises to the heavens. And her offering is the gift of light and power to Hephaestus for his help in what they've done, and then her conviction to Demeter.
So, yeah. Great. Yeah, and with that is the old sacrifice completed. So you get a bond with Hephaestus as well for that, because you were best in the sacrifice. Excellent. So, let's see.
And do we all get glory for this as well?
Yeah, you get the glory you would normally get. So cool. Everybody gets 3. Moirai gets 6. What is next? What is the next step here? The leadership phase and then the Vault of Heaven. I think I want to do the Vault of Heaven first and maybe save the leadership for next time. We'll see where the Vault of Heaven lands, because I don't know what island will be next. I have an idea for leadership if it's the last island, okay, versus if it's not the last island. All right, so let me put us on that scene with our little strife sheet here. Okay, so let's see. How many stars do we have on the board? 3, 6, 12, 13. Okay, so you're 2 away from getting another boon.
Oh wow.
Okay, so stars outside of the signs of the gods, because I think there's a few to give out here. I think the actions you all took, especially with sort of Euphemia's penance, for sure, I think impressed Apollo. And so I think you all will get a star with Apollo. So everyone will gain a bond with Apollo as you've completed his constellation.
Oh wow.
Because his whole thing is knowledge, and like having this entire island share their knowledge for the betterment of the Wool of Fate, I think is a significant thing. I think your cunning as mortals to reforge the shears yourselves will get you some credit with Hera. And I think, let me double check what all you guys get from this. So you also receive a mark of divine favor with the deity that I mark. Remember that. So you get 1 from Apollo, 1 with Hera.
Oh wow, okay.
Take a divine favor with Hermes, because you would get a star. You can't get an additional star with Hermes right now, so you just take a divine favor.
Wait, I'm sorry. We got a divine favor or a bond with Apollo?
A bond and a divine favor with Apollo.
Okay.
A bond for finishing the constellation, a divine favor for getting a star, and then just a divine favor with Hera for getting the star. Whoa. Another divine favor with Hermes, because you would get a star, but the constellation's filled, because there was definitely a lot of daring going on. You guys should now get a boon as well. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. That's what we got so far. Let's see now. Okay. So, other stars to give out. Now, let's look at the signs of the gods. Ares' sign was to discard that which is broken. And to just get rid of it, do something new. And I think you've earned just a bit of Ares' wrath because I don't think you really handled that in the way that he would have wanted to. What he expected, who knows?
Nope.
What? Who knows? But that was the, that was not the path you all took. So maybe a bit of Ares' wrath. He's just grumpy. Hephaestus, on the other hand, I think you get 2 stars with Hephaestus. Because I think he's very grateful for what you did, and you showed great reverence not only for like just the way of things, but you showed great reverence for the forge and the art and the craft of forging, and that is the method you took to fix this problem. And I think that is appreciated, the craftsmanship and the ingenuity. And so yeah, that'll get you 2 stars with Hephaestus. And I think that is all of the stars.
Ah, dang. I shouldn't have put our thing towards Hephaestus then.
But you guys get 2 divine favor with him. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You don't get to know. You don't get to know.
No, it's true.
You got to
pick
pick from the heart.
You never know. You never know. All right, fair enough.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if anybody else would. No, I don't think any of the other gods would give you a particular star for that.
So what was our in total? What did we end up with?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divine favor. 1 with Apollo, 1 with Hera, 1 with Hermes, 2 with Hephaestus. 1 bond with Apollo, and 1 boon.
And a boon. Oh yeah,
that's one of the advancements.
Yep.
And
we got the boon because of the
you finished
stars.
Apollo's constellation. Yep.
Oh, do we also get a boon for doing the number of stars?
Oh wait, no. Yeah, you get the boon for the number of stars because you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17. So yeah, you got one for your 15th star. You got a boon, and then the next star you'll get another one.
Okay.
If you're out of boons, you get nothing.
Yeah, if you're out of boons, you get nothing. If you've gotten all of the boons and all of the advancements, kudos. I don't think that's supposed to happen, but here we are.
We're close.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's got to really wail on that fate track.
I'm chasing that glory track. I want to get that D12, baby. I'm a long way from it. I need a lot more islands.
So that actually brings us to a final point here, and that is you have completed 3 constellations, which means you are now eligible to return home.
Is that what the gods have planned for us, though?
Right. Well, maybe they do. I think we'll find out next time because I think you guys are ready. I think you guys are ready for this last island. It'd be pretty hype. I'm excited for it. I know what the leadership contest is going to be for this. I think we're going into the home stretch here.
Sweet. That's fun. That's exciting. It's exciting to finish a thing.
Yeah. So maybe 1 long session or 2 sessions is what we got left. We might do the epilogue as its own session kind of deal.
Yeah. I don't think I have it in me to do a long session, if I'm honest, with
that's fair.
Where I'm at in the world outside of gaming.
Yeah, that's fair. So we'll do it in 2.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And that'll put us at what, 12 episodes? Nice. That's solid.
Yeah.
That is solid. That's solid.
Smooth dozen. That's good.
Smooth does. Slick does. That's what we got.
Sweet. Hey everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. Okay. Of all the gods to piss off, Ares is like the one we probably didn't want to piss off. Because Ares, like,
really wanted to win that one, but I don't know what we could have done.
Discard the shears, man. They were broken.
But to what's
Yeah,
the point?
there was
though?
the other option for the battle was to just like go to the fates and be like, hey, we have an idea. Let's do something different. Let's just not even use the shears. Fuck the shears. But like,
Right.
what do you do? I don't know. That'd be up to you guys.
Yeah.
That was fun because one of the threats for that one is that like Lachesis gets pissed off at you and just shortens your strand of fate.
She uses her teeth.
Just like silly mortal, and just takes your allotment and just snips a little end off of it. Just or just
you're not quite sure how much is taken off.
Spools it back up. Just done. Those are fun. Yeah, there was a lot of really nasty threats in this one.
Oh, man.
I thought they were really fun though, fun and creative.
It's interesting to be on this side of it and not know what all those paths were, but it's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we will be back on Wednesday for Red Markets. And we're gonna see how it goes. We got some looting to do, that kind of thing.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I could use the Bobby Hill method, but it didn't work too well for him, so maybe we shouldn't.
Right.
It's my purse.
Kick.
No, you.
I don't know you.
I also don't think casualties care if you kick them in the nads. So.
No. Vectors definitely don't.
Vectors super don't.
Yeah. All right. So, folks, we are going to take off for the evening. Let's see. Is there anybody who is streaming now that we ought to raid?
I think Cyberwolf should be live.
Cyber is Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. Okay. Well, that's so cute. So for sales,
that's an
also
amazing
doing.
game.
Yeah. All right. We'll do the Turnip Boy thing. All right. We're gonna raid. Yeah, we're gonna raid. Good old Cyberwolf, dear friend of HSG, has been on many of our games, and will be on future games at some stage, whenever we can rope into those things. So let's all head over there, give him some emotes, some love in the chat, and with that, that'll close out our evening for tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in. As always, have fun and play well.
May all your rolls be crits.